Hi there, Deepnausea here, and I want to go through the build I'm currently using. I have tried several builds to see which ones I kind of liked, see which ones kind of fit in, and this currently is a build I actually love playing. I don't know if it's the most optimized, it's just the one that suits my playstyle and I really enjoy it. Well, let's go for it first thing. Character, I've managed to go and get the deflect up to that hard cap. We'll change colour, 70%. Currently crit is at 24%. As for the attributes, I stack all attributes onto Warfare, and if any attributes possible that I get through armor, usually on Warfare as well, I'd like to try and get it to that plus 50% damage bonus versus elites and boss creatures, seeing as I do in a group spend a lot of time just distracting and concentrating on that boss, while the other guys DPS it all down. As for perks, first one is Burnished Weapon. That's plus 100% deflect bonus with melee weapons, minus 20% to armor-based damage reduction. So that's going to give you more deflect, but also you're going to receive a little bit more damage due to the reduction on the armor. Now, to complement this, Fate Mastery, damage bonus percent equal to your deflect value. So I am getting 70% more damage, and it applies to all attacks. Now, the third option is slightly more optional. I've seen people prefer to use crisis management, things like that, and a few other ones. You got damage bonus percentage equal to your deflect. Oh, Fate Mastery. I can apologize for that. And you got a few more there that you can pick, which will do buffs like dot buffs. Because I run an axe build, so with my axe build, you apply a dot. I actually prefer to use this. It's a plus 10% crit chance at a sacrifice of 10% of your health. Now, as a Crusader, you're going to have quite a lot of health usually, or a lot of suppression. It works well for me in this way. Okay. Inventory. First things, I'm missing one relic. I prefer running a Deflector build. It gives you that little bit of a resistance, a little bit of a shielding. But on top of that, it also bounces back damage, so you're increasing your damage output there. A couple of things that I like as a addition on these weapons. Obviously, the Sentinel armor, 10% chance to trigger Scatterfield when hit. When you're in a mob of people, that just completely procs all the time. You just see this big blue flash constantly around your character. Quite a nice little perk. And this one here, single target skills with single target tag, deal area damage around the target. Now, the main strike of this is under 1% cooldown on it. It's armor breaking. It has single target. It also does critical strike at 10% chance of crit chance, and it also applies a dot for 5 seconds. So that one is going to hit around them as well. It becomes a little bit of a AoE swipe virtually attack. And then obviously we've got the swipe that we could chuck in every so often, and that's at 2.3%, but we can get that down with some of the skills. As for my shield, it runs a plus 40 to deflect for 10 seconds after blocking. With me hitting hard cap, I've not had a chance to test how effective that is. As for on my actual items, I do like to make sure once you get a deflect, I try and chuck crit bonus on whenever I can. And on my shield, is it one of these things? On this one here, successfully deflects an enemy attack, recharges 5 suppression resistance. Quite a good perk to have as well. That's his build. And let's get on to the actual skills. First, I'll go on to what I consider the base, the must-have skills when you're creating a deflect build. Now, close combat, I pretty much pick everything that gets me to overwhelm, which grants a 5% damage bonus to melee skills up to 50%, as long as there is less than 2 seconds between each attack. Now, with the addition of movement, which I'll talk to later, your main attack is under a second anyway, and your second attack can get up to that point as well. Also grab these. Successful Deflect stacks 5% damage bonus. Obviously, you're all about the Deflect. And this one here as well, plus 7% skills when facing more than 3 opponents. You're going to charge in there and blast everybody out of the way. I always go for this as well. Our melee kill grants 20% movement speed. Now, with your going in there, attacking so many guys, you'll be able to race to the next mob and to the next bomb and keep going. There's a couple of movement buffs I put on, and you'll stack. I've got to myself at one point, you're looking at 60, 70, 80% movement. So you're literally just like a dart. This also, the close combat and the physical attacks can be slightly altered depending on what weapon you're using. Now, if you're using a chainsword, that offers Fleshbane, so I would put a point in Fleshbane as well. If you're doing a sword, which is a combo, I'd put a point in there. Now, you're saying there's no points left. There is part of the physical attacks which you won't need if you're not using an axe, and I'll go to that next. For physical, you should do the whole middle part. The whole middle part, you're looking at plus crit for physical damage. Crit dealing damage adds vulnerability to it. Plus 10% stacking as well. Now, this is also what I take, a plus 5% for all skill damage with less than 1 second cooldown. Again, your primary weapon does 0.8 seconds. And with some of the movement buffs, you can get the second one down, so that's brilliant. Now, 10% against bleeding enemies, you can take that if you want to or not, because if you know there's a build or something else you've got, or you team up a lot and you know someone's going to have a bleed or a dot sort of thing, good one to have. Now, bleeding effects last 2 seconds longer. If you're not using an axe or something that creates a bleed or a dot, you can take that point and do what I said before. Put it into either Fleshbane and combo if you're using either a chainsword or a normal sword. Right, so these two. And this one here's another one. I will do as the base. You're looking to get... This is to help with survivability. So you've got pain suppression, which will give you a suppression point for every 10 HP healed. You've got this one, which will, a successful deflect, again, gains more suppression. And this addition here, which heals a character for 1 hit point for every 10 suppression. So these working together, you're getting your suppression and you're getting those little bits of heals, and it's beneficial. Defense being the next one. To get that deflection sorted out, plus 50% deflection bonus from shields as well. So defense, hit points, physical, and close combat has been what I consider the base for my build. I've done so many builds that prioritize debuffs, dots, crits, area effect, and all of them. Now this build, for me, works amazing. Now what you're doing, after you've done this baseline for your abilities, is you're stacking the rest of the points in single target and in movement. For a single target, you're concentrating on this one. For every 1 hit kill restores 10% of your health. It's so good to jump in there, smash up an enemy, a boss or an elite, and then just quickly jump out with, because I use a storm shield, you can just charge out, give a one shot to somebody, that's 10% of your health back, and charge straight back in. The amount of times I'm getting seriously damaged, because I go for the boss very quickly, and then just jump out, get rid of these targets you can one shot, pretty much fully do your health again, and then jump back in. And on the way there, you get a couple of things like plus damage to all single target melee. Your first attack with a single target grants plus 5% crit chance. Now, you got to remember, your single target now does some AoE, but it's a single target weapon. So you're getting these benefits, you're getting these suppression damages, and you're also getting the ability to survive if you need to be. So this adds more damage and a little bit more survivability. Now, movement was the thing that I actually tried last. I generally didn't think movement would do much to my build. I thought, let's stack it into crit, let's get all these crits up. And I found movement better, because with the crits going up, for my particular build, I've got 25% crit. I can get that into the 30s, but I found that being able to hit them more times obviously gave me a lot more crit, and I noticed it more. So with this, as you start in this corner, it's, again, if skill is no longer than 1% cooldown, you get a -3 to it. Below 25%, resets cooldowns. If skill's longer than 1%, so basically these are all cooling down your swipe. So you're now getting your primary left and right click all going under or close to a second, either just below or just over. Again, -10% cooldown reduction for things over 1 second. And this one at the top, successful deflect reduces skills, but cools down by 5%. So if you're throwing the odd shields up and deflects up, what will happen is this will make sure you can literally click left and right constantly, and you'll be doing both abilities. And here, you're getting an extra 0.20% movement speed when you do a kill for 5 seconds, and these stack. So I've had 3 of these and 2 of these after doing a mass attack on a mob, and you're looking at running at 80% quicker to your next mob, and then when you get close to it, you just charge them anyway, and then next minute obliterate them all. This build, I kind of fell in love with. It just is fun for me. I get to hit them heck of a lot more with a lot more abilities. I see the crits flying up a lot more compared to when I did a crit build. And this running around the place, especially when you're in a map that's mobs are not hugely far apart, so you run into one, obliterate them all, and you're able to run and then charge the next mob and keep going, and you literally become a speeding bullet, smashing through all these. And the one thing about this build I found is when I run a lot of higher end maps, you find, except for going impossible and turrets, you find you're two-shotting Ogren, you find that you're just melting tanks, things like that. Now obviously in impossible turrets it's not as quick to melt things. You're still a lot quicker than the crit build I used to have. Obviously we're not outputting the same sort of thing as a Psyker, but that is a whole different ballgame. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This is my build. I am loving it at the moment. I can't get enough of playing this. I'll just have to see how it goes and how things get tweaked, but it is my ideal build. So if there's anything else you can suggest, or anything you think you might be worth changing or trying, please leave comments below. Thank you so much for watching my build. Take care, guys.